been working on two projects that I'm unreasonably excited about. I had this whole concept about creating leadership in other people. I used Bolt to generate a landing page, and I think vibe coding, where vibe coding is at, is so good right now for generating like static sites like this. AI is at a place where I can do this because this would have taken me weeks.
All right, welcome everybody to Code and Cognition. Today we're going to be talking to friends who have worked with vibe coding and get their experiences. So we have Monica V and Monica B with us today. So would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Hi everyone, I'm Monica Veggalam. I was a former software engineer at Microsoft, and now I'm an executive and leadership coach. I have done some serious vibe coding in the last 1 month, and I'm here to share my experiences.
Great. And I'm Monica Borrell, and I am the Director of Delivery here at Olio Apps. And I consider myself a non-technical software founder. In a previous life, I had a SaaS startup. I did do some programming, but it was too long ago to really count. But I do have kind of like the background of like knowing how databases are structured and how like code kind of roughly fits together from a very old model.
Okay, so MV, you said you're doing leadership coaching. Have you also had any kind of other prior experience with software development or being in that world?
So I worked as an engineer at Microsoft for a number of years. So I mainly worked with C#, Java, and in distributed systems in the backend of the cloud services that we provided for other customers. So I was on call for quite a few scenarios, and basically all that to say I have experience coding. We developed features, we debugged, we fixed issues, and it was a lot of fun, like learning the architecture and design systems and all of that. And now it's been 4 to 5 years since I have done that. And it is such a fascinating experience to see where we are at with coding right now.
Yes. So it sounds like you're like familiar with some of the workflow and trade-offs and like working in teams at Microsoft and all that goes into like making something real.
Yes, totally.
And Monica B, what past projects did you work on in software development, prior to AI and vibe coding?
When I was coding, it was before 1994, and I was coding in a language called Progress, which was a fourth generation language that had an RDBMS embedded in it. So it was pretty simple. You could write UI and backend and all that stuff just with one language. And it was a procedural language, and it was very much, I think, leveraged the skills of like logic and database design. But the coding today is, so I'm managing teams of software engineers now at Olio, and the coding that I see doing them and the code that I see, the vibe coding projects I do getting created, is pretty mysterious and new to me at this moment. It's a mystery.
Cool. So can you guys talk a little bit about your projects that you've been working on lately?
Yeah, so I have been working on two projects that I'm unreasonably excited about. So the first one is like I am doing a workshop tomorrow, and like this is a leadership workshop. And usually what I do is just make a simple description and put it on this website called Luma and publicize that on LinkedIn. And it doesn't have a lot of space to put anything. So it's just basic stuff. So this time I had this whole concept about creating leadership in other people for people managers. And I wanted to explain that concept so people can see the value of this workshop. So I used Bolt to generate a landing page. And I think vibe coding, where vibe coding is at, is so good right now for generating like static sites like this. And within 2 days, I was able to build this landing page and just kind of give it prompts like make it pretty, make the hero section better, and like put a button here, name the button this. And then I also went into like the code part of it and edited a few things. So that was very nice. I thought oh wow, AI is at a place where I can do this, because this would have taken me weeks. Like, I remember working on my website a few months ago, and that took me, I don't know, months, working with a designer, working with a copywriter, and like coming up with all of the different elements of how things need to be organized. So I was like super excited after doing that project. And then I said, oh, I have an idea based on my work. I want to track all the people I am meeting in my coaching practice. And I want to track all the projects I am doing, all my side projects, creative projects, and the things I'm working with other people. And I developed this concept that I'll have my own personal app, and I'm going to call it the studio. It basically has this AI input box, and it'll be connected to an LLM. And I just tell it, hey, today I met this person and they were interested in my coaching service, but they are busy right now and they want me to follow up in 2 months. So I would just enter that and it would create like view for me where it would store this information and surface back this person in 2 months so that I can contact them. So it's like a basic CRM. So I started on that project and it did not go as I planned. And probably we'll talk about that more a bit later. So those are the two projects I've been doing on the side.
Yeah, and for me, the first project I tried with vibe coding was about a month ago, and it was also with Bolt.new. Thanks for turning me onto that tool, Scott. And the product I was trying to make was kind of like inspired by a prospect of Olio that had an idea for an app. And it was essentially like a survey engine, kind of like a Survey Monkey kind of a thing. But I was envisioning having it be like a front end to using like our Data Pilot tool. So Data Pilot can analyze and get insights out of many records of data, but we needed something to go collect the data from, like, imagine I was a consulting company and I wanted to work with clients and I had an assessment. I could build surveys specific to those clients and put email lists in and then publish the survey and collect the results. So nothing really that SurveyMonkey couldn't do. But I wanted, so it wasn't so much about like, let's create a really cool product idea. It was really just about a Me Too product. And the purpose of that was just so I could learn Bolt and figure out, could I do something with vibe coding? And then the second project that I did, I probably spent about 2.5 hours on it in total. And that was a journal, a dreams journal. So basically it has like a daily tracker. So if you're trying to build a habit of tracking your dreams or journaling about your dreams, you can see what days you missed and what days you did the journaling. It has a place to enter notes about the day before, and then you can enter descriptions about one or more dreams that you had the night before. And then it calls out to OpenAI as well to analyze the dream and brings the dream analysis back to the client and or to the user. And I think I see a next step in that I would love to be able to converse with OpenAI. Like, oh yeah, you said the ghost meant this, this, and this, but I don't really resonate with that thing, but I really, really resonate about this other thing that you said, and start to have more of a contextual conversation. And so that's like a really cool, like just personal project and a way to experiment with vibe coding and see what it can do.
So you have ghosts in your dreams?
In my sample dreams, I went on the internet and grabbed some sample data.
Now we want to know what's in your dreams.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's a really cool project.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I think that my experience of vibe coding was very different from the first project to the second project, which probably says more about my evolution as a vibe coder than the particular projects.
Cool. Well, can we get into like what you guys learned or like, and what went according to plan and what did not?
Yeah, I can start on that. So the thing I learned is just pulling out static websites from vibe coding is super easy now. And just like my landing page, like things like that are easy. If I want a database integration and if I want to create a user account, that is available too. But spinning up a whole project from one prompt can introduce so many bugs. And that's what happened with my second project, the studio. There are some like UI bugs which are very, very hard to trace. In Bolt uses, I think, React as the main programming language, and I didn't necessarily have any familiarity with it. So it was very, very hard for me to figure out a particular nasty UI bug. And then I had to take the help of another developer to look at it for me. I tried. I put some console logs, and I asked the AI to fix it, asked the AI to diagnose it. It was trying to do certain things, but it was changing other parts of the code, and it was saying that it fixed it, but it did not.
Yeah, I've come across that a lot where it thinks it fixed it, and it's like, you're good now. Go ahead. There's still a
Yeah.
bug.
And then it creates workarounds, like one very simple example is I wanted to change the color of the entire app. I think just one tab I wanted to change the color. So then it didn't change the base color where the variable was declared, but it created a whole new function on top of everything to introduce like a new color, which is really bad coding.
Yeah.
Because now I have to, if I want to change that other color, now I have to fix two places and track down everything, right? This is like software development 101, where you say that declare a constant somewhere.
Yeah.
So
like you have a very energetic junior dev who's happy to keep coding.
yes.
But makes mistakes without knowing.
And keeps like introducing new bugs when you asked it to fix old bugs, right? I think there is some learning curve in terms of how to test, introduce test cases and write tests for the vibe coding. That's what I think those were the major lessons for me. And one more thing was progressive development of the app. I went back and forth with ChatGPT and developed a whole plan for my app where it has a CRM functionality, it has a projects functionality. It also is like an idea garden where I can enter my ideas and it gives me connections. So it has like 10 features. And I put all of that into Bolt. It generated something really cool, but underneath it was all so messy. So I think vibe coding has to be very, very progressive, like give one scenario, then the next one, then the next one.
Yes. It's funny how it's kind of like a human that way too. Like if you just give a developer a whole project, they might go off on a tangent or misinterpret. But if you give them piecemeal task and then you kind of like, okay, this looks good, or no, fix this, and then keep going, just like break down the tasks.
Maybe we need a project manager in between, or like an architect or somebody in between, right?
Yeah, that's interesting because I had a little bit of a different experience almost in that when I first started with my original app, I envisioned like 4 different screens, and I went on YouTube and watched a video about how you shouldn't try to do everything at once and you should break it down. And so I broke it down into like first just log in and then log out, and then the first screen and the second screen. Okay, let's now build a menu. And it kind of worked to a point, and then like the fourth screen, it just started getting into this loop. Like it was trying to, like it would fix one part, but then break another part, and then I'd fix that part, and it would re-break the other part. And I'd get into like that loop thing, like you were talking about, Monica. But I really felt like I took a lot of care to break it down, and yet I still ran into that challenge. But I don't know why or exactly what I learned there. But my second project, I just gave it, I was like, oh, I just want to create a very minimal MVP that does like one thing or two things, and I just gave it all to it at once, and it did the design really well. It like almost worked perfectly. I had to get some help from Scott to figure out the OpenAI keys and how to do that, but other than that, it just kind of worked. The first and the design was almost better than I would have come up with had I done a design. My first project, I actually made mocks and uploaded images of the mocks into Bolt.
Wow, that's so cool. So for the second project, you didn't make mocks, but it improved on its own?
I didn't make mocks. I just described kind of like I described, okay, this is a dream journal, and this is, I kind of gave it a little bit of vibe, right, of what I wanted, but it almost like picked up on that and went, well, we're going to make this with black and purple to make it dreamy. And the UI was like kind of better than I would have probably come up with, because I'm used to designing like bigger apps that have menus and modules, and it didn't do any of that. So
You're going to design a B2B dashboard for dreams.
yeah, right. Exactly. I don't need the whole CRM for dreams.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just that the app was so simple that it worked as well as it did. And one thing that remains a mystery for me still is like, okay, now if I want to extend on this, how do I do that? How easy or hard is that going to be? Because I was left with this feeling like you got to know everything before you start. Otherwise, you're going to get into that like thing I got into before, where the fourth module that I wanted to create broke it.
Yeah. I think I am stuck on my personal app too. And like the feeling I am in is like, I am so close, but it's just not happening. Like I can see the UI, I can see the functionality, but it's not working as expected. So I have a projects tab, and I asked it, hey, add the ability to add and delete or edit projects, and it went bonkers. And now I'm like, I don't even want to touch it. Maybe I'll sit on this for another 5 days and then go back to it and see what it did.
That's exactly the emotional experience I had with my first app. Once it was so fun and cool when it was all working, and then when I got into those loops, I was just like so frustrated. I'm just like, I just need to stop.
Yeah. Probably Bolt people need to develop like debugging abilities, and like I think coding will be the easier part. The part that still requires so much of human touch would be the debugging, finding out issues, and finding where things are breaking.
Yeah. Somehow like detecting when it's getting into a loop.
Because there seems to be a problem where it's hard to tell if like the vibe coder interfacing with the tool is the one causing an issue, or there's a part of a process that could be enhanced, versus just the tool itself. It's so new, using these LLMs to design websites or large projects. If that still hasn't reached a point that can just do it optimally. So the platform itself needs to provide sources or support in order for the user to figure that out.
Yeah, I've been reading recently like that vibe coding is good for like getting your first user or your first 5 users and proving out the concept, but it's not really scalable. And so I don't know if you guys think that's the case, or where do we see vibe coding fitting?
It's great for prototyping, just like I guess the definition of vibe coding is, you don't really look at the code at all. You're just prompting, and it's great up to a certain point for that. But as a software developer myself, whenever I've gotten into, I will hit those bugs, and then I have to crack open the code and do some debugging myself, and then tell it either fix it myself or kind of give it some guidance, like this is the problem, to get it unstuck.
Yeah, for sure. I think like it's not yet there, like at production level, right? Because I remember when I was an engineer, there was a whole process. We first designed the back end, and then came up with UI scenarios, and then connected the both. And then there was a PM who would talk through the entire thing. And so there's like a process, and then there is the on call. How do we handle issues when they come up? So I'm pretty sure we are still at the prototyping stage with the vibe coding, and not at a stage where we can handle like lots of users, even if we have good database integrations, etc.
What is still useful though is like, well, what you said, you can like, boom, a landing page in 2 days, and that doesn't take you months, and it's for getting something stood up, and like, oh, surprising UI design that maybe you wouldn't have thought of yourself with the dream journal.
Yeah.
What I also think is very useful is kind of AI assisted software engineering, where we kind of treat the AI as being able to do tasks, like discrete tasks, quickly, or get us 80% to done, and then we can debug it and get it all the way. And I've used that quite a bit using Cursor, and I think there's other interesting tools where they kind of wrap the AI into like a software development process. Like there's a tool called Devin. If you use GitHub and it can hook up to your GitHub repository, and you can give it a task, and instead of it just doing it in a vibe coding interface, it makes a GitHub PR for you, runs tests, and then pings you to review it once the tests are passing, basically.
I'm hearing from a lot of my friends at Microsoft and other places that the tooling, they are working on the tooling, and future is going to be exciting. And they're obviously not telling their company secrets,
Right.
but they are pretty, like the developers are pretty excited about what's coming. But I think the bottleneck will still be around humans approving PRs. And like the whole process that we have to go through, right? Like writing tests, making sure that those tests are actually quality tests and not introducing overhead and things like that.
Hiring and training engineers, debugging is a vague, squishy skill to learn. And once we get good at, I don't know, really articulating how to debug, then maybe AI could be trained to debug better. Or like there's like the coder model, and then there's like a separate debugger model that goes in, and there's the code reviewer model. And I don't know. Just spitballing here.
Possibly.
I think so. I think that that rings a bell in some way. I think I have seen special models or special platforms just for like LLM powered decoding of code, like debugging of code bases. And what the promise of your AI agents is that you can have one platform or one tool that has the permissions just to do it all. You just click a button, and then it's like, oh, you vibed your landing page. Well, boop, time to debug it. Boop, time to deploy it. Oh, run those tests. Oh, submit the PR, and then there you go. That's the dream.
Do you guys have more projects coming up, or other things that you're going to try to vibe code or AI assisted code?
So my dream is just like what Joshua said. I'm going to code this personal app and sell it to all the coaches that I know. Well, that's the dream. But I want to get it to a stage where I can actually use it and get out of like Excel and tables and all the different note taking things that I maintain. And I think it's not a one and done project, because as I use it, I will understand the different nuances I want and things like that. So going forward, I think I'm going to refine my personal app, and also maybe that spins up more ideas for me, and maybe I'll rewrite my website using using vibe coding.
Would you ever consider getting like outside help for like, breaking log jams or getting the bugs debugged?
Probably. I think when I would consider that is like if I'm very close, I know that this is going to work, and then there's just one or couple of issues that I'm just not able to figure out even after spending days on it, then I might consider getting outside help.
You also talked, Monica, about when you were telling me about your app that it was helping you do writing. I thought that was really interesting. Will you talk about that?
Yeah, so one of the tabs in that was about ideas and what the things that I've already written. So I publish content on LinkedIn and Substack. So I try to what I wanted to do was input all of what I am writing and extract patterns out of that, and also input all these random ideas that spark. Like if I just get out of a coaching conversation, I have an idea, oh, this is an issue that people are facing, that leaders are facing right now, and I can speak to that. So I might just jot down a couple of ideas and then put it in the app. And over time, as I collect ideas, it might talk to the LLM in the backend, and give me like, hey, you seem to be talking about this part a lot. Is there something you want to explore here? Or is there a connection between this random idea about uh, discomfort and this other random idea about like dealing with boundaries or an aggressive person? So is there a connection there? Something like that. So I'm really excited to see where that goes. There are like a lot of note taking apps I have tried. There's Sublime, and there is all these, and Sublime is great, especially for ideas like this. Where I find I am not able to consistently use them is that it is 10 different apps right now, and I want to bring them all together and simplify all the scenarios that are there into just the few that I would use, and build like, hey, this is a coach's studio.
And I'm going to be one of your first users, I think, because I think that sounds really cool. Even just for note taking, around projects or leadership concepts, because I know Monica from the leadership coaching world as well, and do some leadership work inside of Olio. And so having that ability to bring themes and concepts together and a note taking app seems really interesting to me too. So I want to use that app of yours. But I agree, like having just like, there's all these apps and we have so many of them. If we could create our own like concierge app that does just what we need and have it be just simple, I have used a lot of like food tracking apps, like for doing various diets and stuff, and they're always so cumbersome and they do 17 million things that I don't need. So that's one of the projects I think I'd like to create. Is like
Yeah.
just because I eat like the same 20 meals, I don't want to log the chicken and the vegetable and all the thing separately. I just want to say boom, boom, boom. This is what it is without all that other stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a trend here, Monica, because I think when companies release apps, or people form a company around an app, they collect feedback from users and they try to reach as many people as possible. So they try to introduce new features and make it more generic, and then it stops being specific to one person, right? Maybe with vibe coding, what will come is like this whole personalization of apps, and like just your app just doing the things that you need,
Yeah,
and nothing
micro
else.
app just for you.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, what LLM are you using in your vibe coded app? Is it OpenAI LLM or
Yeah,
Claude or
ChatGPT. I
yeah?
I have a ChatGPT subscription, and I took Bolt subscription to vibe code this app. And I know that Bolt uses Claude underneath to write the code. Um, but just giving Bolt the entire instruction didn't work well the first time. So I chatted a bunch with like ChatGPT to develop like a whole prompt to give to Bolt. I developed the scenarios there, and then copy pasted that prompt into Bolt, and that seemed to have better results.
And does your app itself use like an OpenAI API or?
Yes, it does. It is connecting because I wanted it to parse natural language. Like, hey, I did this thing today,
Yeah.
and remind me about this other thing.
Well, for me, I mean, I have this fantasy that I could build a small language model, and I have no idea how to do that. But I would love to figure out, and maybe ChatGPT could help me figure out how to do this, to take all of the leadership and coaching body of knowledge of all the teachers and trainers and that I follow and bring that data in and have like a personal coach in a sense, right? Or a personal mentor or just a friend that I could talk ideas about like, oh, I have this challenge at work and blah, blah, blah.
I was saying I know at least two people who have their GPTs, like this person GPT. So you can chat with that person and extract their insights. So people are building these things, and it's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that almost feels like what you're doing, Monica, when you're like creating your ideas and connections and writings, and that will grow, and eventually maybe you can open that up so I could have the AI
Maybe.
version of you.
Maybe. That'll be super cool. But this one, though, I'm doing it for myself so that I can improve my own writing and thinking process. I think
Hmm.
one of the things that I am cognizant of is delegating my thinking to AI, because that's a very, very easy thing, like a very comfortable thing to do. So I'm trying, and that will kind of take away the learning process of thinking through stuff.
Mm.
So like that's the idea behind my idea garden, so that I am the one doing the thinking and then getting help from AI rather than just delegating all of it and have it generate the content. And then we are doing an internal workshop, Monica, right, on content creation with AI soon. You and I, we are going to be doing, and I'm teaching that. So this is like one of the biggest concepts in that.
Oh, okay. Is that what we're doing? Is that tomorrow?
Yes.
You don't know you're doing it, but you're doing it.
You are doing it.
I'm not
No.
sure what it is, but yes, I signed up for it.
Yeah, not tomorrow, when we are meeting in May.
Oh, right, right. Okay. Yeah, I just wish I had more time to work on it myself and to do more. But there's also like this fear because I'm not a coder. What will I do if I actually build something? Like, is it just all for naught if it's not scalable or it's not really usable, or I don't know. That's a problem for the future, I suppose.
Good problems to have, I think, because right now you can always you could use a website builder like Wix to make a website, or mock up some sort of user flow that you wanted to do, and eventually you get enough traffic and you definitely need to make your own site and do it yourself. So I think those problems will stay the same whether we're vibe coding them or using an existing technology, but we shouldn't let the fear of future success prevent us from seeing what we can vibe into reality.
Correct.
Yeah. I think there will be a whole area, like an industry around this, where there will be freelancers who take your vibe coding project and create a production level
Well, I
quality of
think
it.
Replit has some kind of marketplace like that now, where if you get stuck, you can put a task out into the marketplace and have someone help you fix it or get past it.
Wow, that is so
Who's,
cool.
who is that? I want to write that down.
Replit, so like competitor to Bolt.
Oh, Replit.
They're a competitor to Bolt,
Okay.
and they've got a similar vibe coding interface.
But it's been such a cool experience. I didn't imagine that I would go back to coding, because I moved out of that career and I'm doing leadership coaching and this is my thing now. And I can't imagine going back to coding. But now I'm like so excited. Now I can build stuff on my own without getting my hands too, wet with the code.
I guess I should also just toot our horn a little bit. As Olio Apps, we're able to help people with AI assisted development, debugging, and other such things.
Yeah, that's right. And you do it at like a production quality, right?
Yes, that is what we're doing on a daily basis, and also using like AI assisted tools like Cursor and such to speed up workflow. Well, cool. May we all bravely go forth and vibe code into the future.
Well, MV, if people want to learn more about you or look at your coaching offerings, where can we find you? Post this conversation.
Oh, well, I might not publish my vibe coding projects out there, but I do write content, and I think that's mostly helpful for leaders. And you can find me on LinkedIn. Search Monica Veggalam by my name here, and I don't know. Is there a way to put the link in the show notes, or
Yes, we will go ahead and share that.
find me on LinkedIn and Substack?
Monica B. I think you also have a LinkedIn and a Substack.
I also do have a LinkedIn. Yes, Monica Borrell, Borrell. I notice I don't have my last name, but I do have a Substack. It's completely not active. I don't know if I've written anything on Substack, but I do have one.
Yeah, and you can find us at olioapps.com, olioapps.com.
I'm also on LinkedIn, Joshua Proto, if you want to follow my LinkedIn and see updates about all the pigeons that I take care of. That would be the best place for it.
Well, this was fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll have to have both you back to see the iteration of the vibe coding journey, and to see if you still want to continue your new positions as professional vibe coders.
Maybe. I don't know where we are going to be 1 year later at the rate of how things are evolving. It's going to be amazing.